And we're live. Hi, everybody. It's been a while. Welcome back to some self care shorties. Today, we're going to talk about some self massage techniques. For those of us in a high risk category, we're still not really free to go about the cabin. So, um, I'm getting kind of cranky in my spots, and certainly some of my clients have reported such as well. So, we're going to work on using some objects today for some self massage, and we're going to be using moist heat. If you can take heat, if not, you'll just use the objects, obviously. So let's first talk about precautions. Especially in the moist heat, you need to be careful about burning. So really regulate this carefully and pay attention to what's going on in the contact areas, because we're going to be talking about laying on top of moist heat. So you need to pay extra attention and be extra careful to avoid any kind of burning. But the heat is so good because it really prepares the muscles, really relaxes the muscles. When muscles are really tight, sometimes it's the connective tissue, but the muscles, are tight, and they get like these, Chinese finger puzzles that you can't really just pull them apart. They require fresh oxygen to relax enough to kind of let go and lengthen. And the oxygen is carried in the blood, so the heat brings a lot of blood to the area. That being said, you're also going to want a cold at the ready for when you're done working with heat in order to flush all that stuff away. And I talk more, I think, more about that in the hot or cold video that you can refer to. So, in addition to these objects, have a cold pack at the ready to finish with. All right, we're going to talk about whatever household objects you happen to have that are circular or cylindrical. So I've got some things that I've used over time. I use these hard rubber dog toys balls. They're really firm. If you think about when you're getting a massage and somebody leans into you with the forearm or the hand or the elbow, we're creating pressure. So and it's a little hard to do that on your own body with with your own body. So we're using objects to kind of create that against the firm surface of the floor or your bed. So these are kind of nice. Um, I've got golf balls for the feet. They're a little, that's too hard to put elsewhere. It's just too hard to put weight into it, but it's really great for all the feet stuff. So we'll talk about that a little bit better. I've got this stuff. It's a little soft, and I don't know. I just actually don't like it, but every once in a while I use it if I really want. I don't know. It doesn't really seem to get in there very well. It's too soft, I think, anyway. But it's an object. So you need to find that give and take, firm versus like gives a little, because you're going to be putting your body weight into it, and obviously don't want to bruise or hurt yourself in any way. And um, I discovered this one while I was thinking about this video. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna beat you with the rolling pin, but there's actually many reasons for using this that I can lay it on. And again, we'll talk about these things. I've got the heating pad that I can use. Mine happens to have a little. It's built to be a moist heating pad. If yours is not, don't try to make it one. We don't need any electrocutions going on here. That would not be useful. So if you have one, get the thing moist. We want moist heat. It's really going to penetrate deeper than just dry heat. So sans this, you can again use the toweling system. So I've got 2 hand towels here. I'll get one hot in hot water, either, in the microwave if you've got it, or, I'll just put it in the sink with some really super hot water, and be really careful because you do want it pretty hot, like too hot to really mess with too much. So use tongs or whatever, and get it wringed out as best you can. And then depending on what area you're going to heat, this size is nice. And then you wrap it, in the dry towel. Say I'm going to heat this area and work against it, or or this area, and I'm going to lay on that side. Um, just make sure there's enough dry covering to keep, again, from burning it. Now it's going to soak through and get the outer covering damp. So if you're on your bed or something you don't want to get wet, make sure you've got some plastic to put underneath everything. Um, all right, so these are kind of the objects I've got to work with. Uh, so we're going to talk about some ways to use them. Again, be very, very cautious with the heat on your body. And with the objects, be very, very cautious about your bones, your nerves, and your arteries and veins, and little details like that. You don't want to put any pressure with any object into any bone. Period. Especially if you're working on your back, you don't want to be hitting those spinous processes up with any kind of force or pressure. So make sure you're off the side of any of your bones and into the flesh of the muscles. Um, Caution on heat, caution on bones. You're going to want to avoid behind the knee, in here, under here, through here, because of all the nerves and stuff. If anytime you're laying on stuff or putting pressure on, anything feels tingly or you get that nervy sensation, stop doing that immediately and move the pressure. It means you're on a nerve. And obviously, if you feel any kind of weird pulsing and stuff, then probably need to move because you're probably on a vein or an artery. You don't want to be on that too. So really make sure when you're doing these things that you're actually putting the force into the belly of the muscle types areas. And you should, as an experienced massage person, hopefully be able to feel anything that doesn't feel right. If it doesn't feel right, please change it immediately. There's just no point in taking any risk to hurt yourself. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, just don't do it. And you can, get a hold of me and ask for more details. I'd be happy to oblige rather than allow you to hurt yourself. So please always take care of yourself. That's the number one thing. Or I did two. Number one thing. All right, let's talk about a few things. I'm going to start with the rib cage because mine are feeling kind of crunchy in my back and that kind of stuff, and things we can do with that. So in terms of the heat, let's say we want to work on this side and break up this stuff and get, mine get really stiff through there. So maybe I'm going to want to get the hot piece like on your side. It's probably better to do it flat. And I'll wrap it in a towel. You probably want something for your head if you're going to be lying on your side. And you'll make this whatever shape and thickness works for what you're trying to accomplish in the position that you're in. So I'm just going to get my arm out of the way here and get this situated on the sides of my ribs. And then make sure your head is comfortable. So you're lying on your side. There's nice, steamy, hot heat going on there. And then to get some motion, meaning you're massaging yourself against the weight of the surface that you're lying on, just doing what I'm doing, rolling back and forth a little bit. You can kind of, I'm using my knee to come forward and backward. I'll just exaggerate that so you can see it. I'm just doing that kind of motion to kind of oscillate against it. And I'm feeling right now, it could be a little thicker, to provide a little more pressure. So, I'll just go ahead and fold it up and make it just a little bit thicker. So change it up according to, that feels a lot better. And I can kind of get on it in such a way that I can really roll back and just kind of get right where the edge of the shoulder blade comes into play. And I kind of, that feels, and I can roll forward to get into all of these side muscles. And again, you can also oscillate this way, up and down. That's really a good one for your side. And I'm just, you can see me, I'm exaggerating with my feet again, just sort of that what other rhythm suits you to really oscillate. Now I can also come up on an elbow to really focus it in where it hits the ground there, where the rubber meets the road. Again, just rolling, oscillating. That's nice. That's nice. So you get the drift. Now, obviously, you can do the same thing lying on your back. You can make it again as wide or as thick as you need to. And just lay out on my back. And again, you can do the oscillating. You can do the knees tilting to the side. So I'm rolling on it. If you feel secure and your feet are really in a good place, you can kind of lift your pelvis to put pressure into like where it hits on the back, and I can oscillate there. I don't know if you can see, but I'm lifting my pelvis off the floor. But only do that if it's really reasonable. And you don't have to go very far. You can actually just tilt your pelvis, and that'll push some force into that part, the more upper parts of your back. And from there, you can just kind of do that. You can, again, roll to the side use your arms to help roll across that part of the upper back that gets so cranky between the shoulder blades. All of these movements, you can circle the arms real slowly. Both directions, of course. You'll feel the movement and the pressure against the floor, and all of this is, of course, getting nicely heated. And when you're done, iced. Now this comes into play, again, lying here on the back. I've kind of discovered this, like those Theracane things that you can really get in here. And I'm, again, off between the spine and the shoulder blade, and avoiding any of the bones. So I'm in that meaty part that everybody, complains about, including me. And of course, I can also put the heat over it. So I'm going to find that place. And this is great because you've got the handle up here to kind of adjust it. So I'm going to carefully get on here in such a way. I'm going to be on my right side, on the right side of the spine, between the spine and the shoulder blade. Again, I'm going to get my head up here because I'm elevated. Make sure you got good pillows. So you can see where I'm at right here. And I can actually grab the handle a little bit and kind of manipulate it a little bit. But mostly I can just, again, lay here and kind of move against it. And of course, I'll do both sides. It feels really good. I'm glad I found a rolling pin. That's a good one. I like that. And so I can adjust it just by grabbing the thing. I can pull it out. Another one I love is the ball. When you want to get right into that point between the shoulder blades. And again, you can put it under the moist heat as well. Just get it in there and be really careful when you do this. And just when you find that nice little meaty spot, just rest there. Only put as much weight into it as is comfortable. If it hurts, back off, back off. And again, just this little oscillating, whatever movement kind of feels. You can see it under there. I put this at various points in my back. I really like it up here in this part because that's, where I have problems. So I'll just oscillate, oscillate, oscillate. And again, really control the weight because you don't want to go so harsh and deep and hard that you bruise yourself or anything weird like that. Oh, that upper trap one is a good one. Oh yeah, just moving around. If you have two of these or two tennis balls of the same size, you grab a sock, put them both in the sock. Fortunately, I don't have another one, but you can imagine another ball of the same size in there, and then you tie the end around it. There's a nice little space between those two. You want them to, tie the sock to nudge them up again and hold them up against each other. There's going to be this little groove here, and so you can put these balls on either side of the spine, and there's going to be a groove there for the spinous processes, and so you can just like I was doing on this. So you've got a ball on either side of the spine. You can get on it, and again, you can kind of tilt your pelvis and push through your feet to push some weight into it if it's comfortable and safe, depending on the size and the hardness of the balls. And again, do the rocking, and again, you can move it down. Just be careful in the lower back. You don't want anything through the soft tissues away from the spine. That's where the kidneys and things are. So nothing below where the ribs. Mostly use this up between the shoulder blades and right up to the top, not into the neck, but right here in the upper traps behind there. That's always a good place to push into a little bit. So those are the many things that you can do on your back. You got the ball. Got this, got the heat. And again, you can also, do this any shape you want. If you want to use the hot towel like a roller, then, roll it up. And there you've got a roller. I like these behind my neck, right up in here. That's always nice. Or again, between the spine and the shoulder blades. Or we're going to talk about soon, like under the hips and sitting. So I think that's it for that. And also, we've talked about the roller blanket before. Go back and look at the roller blanket. I'm not going to create the roller blanket, but we'll just use a roller. Again, you can use the moist heat. Probably easier to get on the roller. And this would be the blanket roller. You don't necessarily need one of these for sure. And again, it's right on my spine. And I can just roll this. I can kind of focus it into different areas. A lot of it is this oscillating motion is where it's really with your body weight creating the force against whatever the immovable object is, or semi-immovable. So let's talk about the hips a little bit. I use these same objects in the hips, and I do it in the chair. Or, I can sit here and find that spot to kind of, and then roll around it. Sometimes this is easier sitting in the chair for the ones that are really underneath by where the hamstrings come in, and just above there. Or I discovered this using this around. And again, be very careful of the sacrum. You don't want to be on the bone. You want to be between the sacrum and the greater trochanter, which is, you'll feel it in the hip. If those of you who aren't familiar with anatomy, your hip joints are actually interior. So the femur comes up, and it's got the greater trochanter out here, and then it's got a neck where the ball socket is for the hip joints. So these things out here are what you feel is at the end of the neck before the femur goes down. So you want to get between the sacrum and that ball. So all of the meaty hip things. And you want to be careful right under where the hamstrings attach, because there's major nerves that go through there. So again, if you feel anything nervy or nummy or weird, get off of it and move slightly around. So those are the target areas. Again, the meaty, a little too meaty here, but so this one is kind of neat because it can go kind of along the long edge of the sacrum if I fit it in there really nicely. Oh, that feels really nice. So that's going to get things like the piriformis, the sciatica type stuff. It feels really good. So that's kind of what you can do lying on your back with that. And I can, again, move the handle around to get it more on the angle to come out over the greater trochanter to the outside. And, I can roll over it a little bit. Again, the oscillating moves. Just be careful where you place it, that you're on muscle tissue, not bone tissue. There's also the outer thing, but I don't know. That's a little sensitive area to be something this firm. Let me give it a try, see if I like it. That could be some touchy areas. It'd be good work if you could be really careful about it, but I'd probably recommend the towel, hot towel roller for this kind of an area, because that is a little too sensitive, I think, for most people, and the heat will help. So let's jump in the chair with a couple of these things. I'll show you how I play with them in the chair. Okay. Let me pick up the camera a little bit. There we go. So in sitting, I can really, again, get into this. This is a little soft chair, so there's a little more give instead of the hard floor, so it's a little more forgiving to sit in a slightly cushioned chair. You don't want it too soft, because then it'll just disappear into the chair. So again, I just find that position. I've also been known to do gymnastics, like, I'm going to get my foot up there and get, just right into that nook and cranny by the outer part of the greater trochanter. So you can be creative. I can cross my leg and find a way to get in there. You can do the same thing, with sitting on something even thicker than just the one layer. And then put the ball behind there. That'll even soften it some more, but it'll, again, kind of massage that moist heat into that area that you can get at. Now this I've discovered in sitting with a seat back is kind of fun. Get this stuff out of here. I discovered that you can kind of get in there and be able to. How did I do this? There we go. And just find different angles for that. And I've got the handle back here that I can kind of pick it up, or again, I can kind of roll across it. I can actually come under here and roll a little bit of the mid hamstrings back here. And I'm just, it's just a small motion with these handles. If my foot are resting on something, I can, now again, avoid behind the knee. You can roll the hamstrings a little bit. You can roll along the IT band a little bit. Doesn't take much weight, and you can heat it first. Moist heat it first. You can do that. You can roll to the inside a little bit. You can roll right down the middle a little bit. Up into here, up into these adductors. It will feel really good, I can tell you that. Up into the hip flexors. Now, I don't want you to use this along the sides of the ribs or crossways across the back. It's too hard, and you don't, again, the spinous processes will hit it across the back, and it's just too hard. These are really sensitive nervy areas, so that's why we weren't using that when we were lying on the side or using it crosswise. We're only using it lengthwise that way. So, you find your way around the hip, and that's what I was doing. I kind of sat on it here and massaged a little bit there. And then just, sit on it. Again, you're off to the side of the sacrum. I'm only on the right side now. You can see here's where the other handle is coming through here. So only in the fleshy areas. Also, this can be, for the feet. At any point, you can, put a little pressure into your foot and roll there. We've got the golf ball for the feet. I like the golf ball. It's a really great size to kind of really roll between each of the two metatarsals. And this is really nice if you're bothering with the foot bath with the Epsom salts. I know that's a real hassle for a lot of people to do that, but this is really nice if you're doing that, and just put it in the hot water with you. Otherwise, do the hot towel wrap around your feet, or the moist heating pad wrap around your feet. Get them really nice and warmed up, and then you can do this, and I can get up here and I can apply a little pressure and just kind of roll around the joints a little bit, through the arch a little bit. I can apply pressure, I can curl around it, I can extend, and just really keep the feet nice and free, and rolling, and so on and so forth. So I think we'll stop there. Whatever objects you find, modify and play. Cylinders and balls, pretty much of different sizes. Like I say, the precautions are with the heat against burning, of course, and if you can't use heat, just ignore that. You can use the towels as little rollers, or find, a harder object like this. Take very strict care where you use hard and where you use soft in terms of where it is on your body. Make sure you stay comfortable. Just really take care of yourself, and don't think that you're going to get in there like I would, or any other therapist would. That would lead you to harm, I'm quite certain. So just use really simple things and take care of yourself in terms of comfort. But get it warmed and everything, and like I said, when you're done, take the cold pack and really flush it out, because once you've drawn all that blood and you've massaged it, we're now kind of breaking up tissues, and not breaking up tissues, I hate to say that, but getting things softening and moving again, thus setting free all the interstitial fluids that have been collecting garbage and not moving it away. So now you need to move it away, and that's what ice does. It constricts all the capillaries and flushes the lymph and the blood flow out of the area. So love the heat, relax, use it to self-massage, but please finish with cold. Otherwise, the soreness will really just creep back in, and you won't be happy. And we want you to be happy. So play with these things. Let me know how you think and how you feel about it. Just take very, very, very good care of yourself. Peace.